Welcome back. Was gonna do a video today about what happens when you're having a hard time getting all of the product off of your trailer when you're unloading. Seems like it shouldn't be something you'd have to worry about a great deal, but every now and then you do run into a receiver that isn't really set up properly to receive liquid loads. That's pretty much the bottom line. Seems like this shouldn't be rocket science, but unfortunately, you know, a lot of customers, a lot of places that set up are forced to, especially when they first start in business. They are, you know, not every company gets to build their own facility right off the bat, number one. So a lot of places rent property wherever they can, you know, and they're stuck with the with what they have, basically. And if you don't know how the trailers work here, as I'm actually unloading as we speak at a place where the customer pumps, what you need is a bit of a downhill. The outlet on the back of the tank is on the back. It's on the actual back. And when you're driving down the road, the trailer is, and I have kind of a water bottle here, and I've got a little bit of water in it. But the trailer's pretty much perfectly level when you're driving down the road. And you know, that's all well and good to be perfectly level, but even if you're perfectly level, when you get to that last little bit of water, or liquid, in this case, this is canola oil that I'm unloading, you're not going to be able to get the last bit that's in the front. So on the back of the trailer, and I'm going to throw in a picture here, we have air ride suspension on these trailers. So there are airbags on the trailer, and when you release, I should say, when you set the trailer brakes, the air goes out of the airbags on the trailer, and that lowers the trailer by a couple of inches. So on perfectly flat ground, when you set your trailer brakes, the trailer's back end's going to drop down just a little bit. And that's part of the reason, if you think about it, you know, if you have a perfectly level little bit, and I'm not sure how well you can see the water in there, but if you drop it down just a little bit, all the liquid goes to the back end of the trailer, and that is going to be able to drain out the back as you unload. However, if you stop and think, if you have done any grounds work at all around any kind of building, if you have a building and you're trying to get rain runoff, what happens when you have rain runoff from a building? A lot of the landscaping, a lot of the ground is angled away from the building because they don't want rain to pool up along the side walls of buildings. So if you don't have a facility or an area where tankers are designed to unload, and what I do, these trailers have all outlets in the back. If you see fuel trailers driving down the road, a lot of times they're belly dumps. You can just see that the outlets are in the middle on the bottom. Some of those trailers that have the pointed middle bottom, these are perfectly flat. Like I said, it's basically a tube and are perfectly level when you're going down the road. Well, all of a sudden now, if you back up to a building, because you know we only have 2 segments of 20-foot hose, so 40 feet, you're still not able to get to the front of the trailer. So if you think, well, okay, it's downhill away from the building, I'm going to put the nose of the truck to the front. Well, you don't have enough hose to get to the port where they're going to unload the product on the building. So you have to back up to it. Okay, well now the ground is sloped downward away from the building, and all of a sudden you got a problem because your trailer is like this trying to unload, and there's, you know, all of the product that's remaining in the front half when it's like that, and you can't get that off. And in this water bottle, that's, you know, if that's even an ounce, that's you know, I'd be surprised. But when you're talking about 7,000 gallons, 48,000 pounds worth of product, that amount's pretty significant. And I've talked about it before. Heel is the term used for any product left in the trailer when you leave. When I'm done today and I'm empty, and I don't have this situation today. I have a backed into a building. You can kind of see the garage door here, and then the asphalt is higher than the concrete that's in the garage, so my drive tires are on the asphalt, and then there's, you know, an inch or so of asphalt drops down to the concrete in addition to the air that's been let out of the trailer. So the trailer in this case is angled the correct direction to let all of the product, all the canola oil come out of this particular trailer. But you will run into places, and like I said, it's a lot of times, this facility here has been here for decades. There are a lot of places that you'll run into. It's maybe a new company that just rented a building because it was what was available and in their price range, and it was never set up, never designed to have oil deliveries or liquid bulk deliveries. And those are the ones that you'll come across where ground sloped away because the architect and the engineer who designed the building didn't think about that, because they designed it for its initial purpose. Maybe it was an office building originally, and then they converted it to something else. And then all of a sudden, now they're getting liquid bulk deliveries, and you have to deal with the consequences. So what do you do? If you've seen a trailer that's off, well, first of all, anyone driving down the road seeing a semi-trailer will see what are called the landing gear. The landing gear are the 2 feet towards the front, right behind the drive tires on the semi, that when you detach the truck from the trailer, that's what the landing gear hold up the front end of the trailer as you drop that trailer and let it sit off to the side and be able to be reattached for someone else at a different time. Those are they'll either have powered landing gear jack on them, or a manual landing gear jack, just a crank, and you just crank it. A lot of them have 2-speed. Ones that we have 2-speed manual jacks. You pull the handle in, or push the handle in, or pull the handle out. If it's pushed in, it's in high speed. If you pull it out, it's in low speed. Similar to 4 high, 4 low. In 4 high, it's cranking very fast because you want to go up and down quickly as you have to travel with the landing gear all the way to the elevated position. And then when you drop the trailer, you put them all the way towards the ground. But what you have to do if you have the scenario where you're angled the wrong direction, you're going to have to detach your truck and trailer, and then you're going to have to raise that landing gear so that you can correct yourself from this until that liquid settles all the way in the back. And that's where you're going to use that low speed landing gear, because you're using your mechanical advantage with the gear system to raise that trailer up. And I'm talking in some cases a significant amount. Here's a photograph of the last time I had to manually crank the landing gear in low speed, and you can see that trailer is a good foot above the fifth wheel. And that's again because it's a customer that, first of all, they don't get a lot of oil, a lot of liquid bulk deliveries at that particular customer. They get one a month maybe. And obviously the building is not set up for liquid bulk deliveries. So this is what the result of that is. It doesn't happen a great deal. I want to say once to twice a year I will run into something like this. I know that there are customers that are automatically, when I get this that delivery that I just showed a photograph of, I know I'm going to have to raise the landing gear, crank the landing gear and raise the trailer when I have that. There's a couple other places that we go that you just automatically know that. But that's what has to happen, because if you return with product on your trailer, the tank wash will dispose of it, but they're going to send you a bill. And it's the driver's responsibility to make sure that the trailer is empty And if it's not empty and the customer doesn't sign off on the fact that it's not empty, it is the driver's responsibility to pay for disposal. Now, if the customer approves and says, we understand you can't get it off, you can't unload all of the product, we have no way to, it's too far down, we don't have a way to crank up the landing gear, we don't have room, and there's, maybe still 500 gallons in there, and they sign off on it, then that's not the driver's responsibility. They're taking the responsibility to pay for the disposal of what they can't accept delivery for. But if you as a driver just make a decision that, listen, I don't want to crank the landing gear, I'm just gonna, and it's not that significant, I'm just gonna leave it like that, and the tank wash that you go to charges $10 a gallon for disposal fees, and you end up with 100 gallons in the tank, you're taking the hit as a driver for disposal of that product. So one of those things you run into, like I said, not often, every now and then. At my point, going to all the same customers like I do, I know the places that I have to do it. Not a fan of it. It's not fun when it's 90 degrees, 95 degrees, and you have to manually crank the landing gear, but it is part of the job. And it's one of those things that kind of been thinking about making a video of, just never have. So thought you'd find that interesting. As always, if you are interested in coming to Prime, link in the description. You can click right on that. It'll take you to the application. If you have any questions, of course, there's an email, or you can comment below, and I will do my best to get you any and or all answers possible. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoy. Talk to you next time, and always be safe.